You know, I've been thinking.
What is it?
You know those Genshin Impact body pillows? I kind of want to get one.
Well, I know they definitely help you with getting some sleep. Speaking from experience, of course.
Not surprising and coming from you, but on that note, what cover did you pick for yours?
So who are you going to pick for your design?
Joe, you better answer that damn question before I call the cops on you.
Sorry for being late again, boys. I was on that grind again for Tower of Fantasy.
I swear, Barack, the day you stop playing that dead-ass game is the day where Joe finally stops obsessing over lollies.
I guess I'll be playing this game right up until my deathbed.
You guys are getting the wrong idea as always.
Anyways, we're getting a bit off topic. We're here today to finish this tier list. We've only got waifus from Inazuma and Sumeru left to do. But before we move on, is there any characters you guys want to swap around before we begin?
I still think it's a crime that Noelle didn't get placed in S tier.
Like I said last time, she just lacks personality and screen time.
Looks like to me that you guys never played her hangout event.
People actually play the hangout events?
Sorry, Donald, but hangouts are probably one of the most boring type of content there is.
L take from both of you guys. She'll still remain as an S tier in my heart forever.
Donald's starting to kind of sound like your average Noelle fanboy.
Shut it, Joe.
All right, I'll move her to A tier because in terms of a waifu perspective, a hardworking maid doesn't seem too bad after all.
Finally, someone with common sense.
Okay, anyone else? What about Lisa?
I know there are some Lisa simps out there malding, but I still stand by my opinion on Lisa being the worst waifu on this list.
To some extent, I agree with Joe here. While she is charming, I don't think her character is fleshed out enough to merit a higher rating.
I didn't really think about it too hard about my decision last time, but isn't being attractive, flirtatious, and carrying all great points on being a great waifu? She has to be at least A tier, right?
You do have a fair point. I'll place her in the middle and settle with B tier then. All right, anyone else?
You know, after playing around with the Windbloom Festival, I kind of feel like I want to move up Sucrose to at least a B tier.
I actually just finished that event yesterday, and I totally agree with that statement. Those moments between Kale and Sucrose were something we don't always get to see very often.
I haven't even started that event yet.
Of course you'd be sleeping on that event. No surprises there.
All right, sounds like we're in agreement to put Sucrose in B tier then.
I still don't really get it, but all right.
Speaking of Windbloom, that brings us to the first character on this list, Kale.
While I don't see her as waifu material, she certainly deserves the high rating, seeing as what she's gone through.
Rarely do I agree with Donald here, but for once I do. She needs to be protected.
Very much agree with that statement. You can definitely see some character growth coming from that Windbloom event. Therefore, I'll put her in A tier. Next, we have Candace.
Who's Candace again?
You know, I feel like it's such an overused joke that I'm not even going to say it.
No, seriously, I don't remember who that character was.
Honestly, though, Biden does have a point. She's not a very memorable character as she doesn't really have any defining characteristics. Her character kind of resembles Lisa somewhat, but doesn't really have much else going for her.
I'd still give her a B tier because she's got that strong mommy vibe going for her.
I'll place her into B tier then. And now on to one of the more controversial characters, Dea.
I don't care what people say, but Dea will always be S tier in my book.
Weren't you the person who told me to not summon for Dea like 3 weeks ago?
I may not like her gameplay, but her design and story quest really does hit different.
I strongly agree with this one. She's objectively one of the best waifus. S tier.
Agreed.
Now we have Dory.
D tier.
Wait a second. You heard that right, Barack?
Yeah, Joe didn't place a lolly into S tier for once.
Now, I don't know how old she is, but she reminds me of my late grandmother.
Well, at least this is one of the lolly characters that we can all agree on.
All right, D tier it is. Looks like Faruzan is next.
Oh my God, I know you guys haven't played Faruzan's Hangout Quest yet, but I urge all of you guys to try it. That one ending is just chef's kiss.
I'll consider it. I mean, I already like her design right off the bat, and her design very closely resembles that Miku character, right?
Ah, yes, Hatsune Miku. That reminds me of the time when I played Project Sakai just last week. I remember specifically getting that 100% accuracy.
Now, let's not get off topic here, all right? We're here for the tier list.
You're just salty that you can never reach my level, Donald.
So are we in agreement in placing her at A tier?
Definitely.
Did you guys seriously just ignore me?
Now we have Kokomi.
I always knew it. You remember how she was trashed on ever since she came out? Now look at what happened. Kokomi is now considered a top tier unit.
Yeah, I was a meta player back then too. I followed what those YouTubers said and skipped her first banner.
Kokomi is as basic as they come. No meaningful character or personality. She's about as deep as a kiddie pool.
Can't go a day without mentioning kitties and pools now, can't we, Joe?
You're missing the point.
She may be somewhat basic, but isn't she also one of the most wholesome characters out there, too?
Well, I wouldn't say completely wholesome, though, as she keeps a secret diary about the Traveler, remember?
Stop the cap in your fanfics, Joe.
I still think she deserves to be in C tier, though.
Nah, I still stand by what I say. Gotta give her A tier.
But in a waifu perspective, I'd still give her an A tier, so that's where I'll put her.
Oh, now look at that. Up next is Kujo Sara.
Objectively speaking, Kujo is clearly superior in terms of being a strategist compared to Kokomi.
That, and plus she's also pretty strong in lore.
You guys forgot her most important trait. Her loyalty to the Raiden Shogun really shows off a strong sense of commitment.
I think that merits her into being a high A tier, if not S tier.
I'd say S tier, but A tier doesn't sound too bad either.
Looks like A tier it is. Now we have Kuki Shinobu.
I know she's not a lolly, but I gotta give her S tier. I think you all can understand why.
Yeah, the fact that she's all right with babysitting the Arataki gang says a lot about her character.
Kuki's got a strong sense of control and duty. She will make sure your room is clean and let you know when to take your meds. Isn't that right, Joe?
When am I supposed to take those again?
Frequently, Joe. Frequently.
Agreement to put her in S tier?
Definitely.
Now on to Layla.
Layla's about as much of a snooze fest as one of Joe's speeches. Let me guess. Is Joe gonna give her an S tier?
As much as I relate to her, I just don't see myself that invested in this character.
I'm a little bit surprised by Joe here, but I agree. She doesn't even get a hangout quest, so we can't really know too much about her unless you read her lore.
At least her demo music is a banger, right?
That's literally all the demo trailers out there, Barack. All of them are bangers.
I guess that's true. So what rank are we placing her then?
Let's place her into C tier for now.
Agreed.
And now, the moment that Joe's been waiting for, it's time to rank Nahida.
Good Lord! Slap a purple wig on me along with a sombrero and call me Scaramouche because that is my mommy.
Oh, hell no. He's going too far.
I'd suggest placing her into double S tier.
She's not going into S tier, let alone double S tier.
But don't you guys think she's cute and funny?
And what do you mean by that?
The cunny.
All right, we need to lock this man up.
Haven't you guys ever had a juvenile elementary school crush before?
Yes, Joe, but just not last week.
This is a waifu tier list, and she's still a lolly. She's going into D tier.
Yeah, you're not fooling us there, Joe.
You guys just don't understand.
Okay, now up next is Nilu, and I truly believe that Nilu is considered peak waifu material.
More like peak dog shit. As much as I love her design, she's as stale as Joe's banana bread.
Hey, I'll have you know, I put a lot of effort into making that.
If you worked in a cardboard manufacturing plant rather than taking the spot as president, then sure.
Are you serious, Donald?
I'm as serious as Nilu's determination to keep up the Sub-Saruz festival.
Whoa there, Donald. But what about her dancing?
Well, that's the only thing she can do and the only thing she did do during that Archon quest.
Looks like Don here had a lot to get off his plate on Nilu.
But despite all that, I'd still place her in A tier because her fan art on Donbaru strikes me as S tier.
All right, I guess A tier it is then. Now we have the Raiden Shogun.
Do I need to say any more? Boo, ba, blade. Boo, ba, blade.
Boo, ba, blade. Boo, ba, blade. Boo,
All right,
ba,
that's enough,
blade.
guys. Now on to Sayu.
Now, as far as lollies are concerned, I can see Sleepy Joe here strongly resonating with her.
That is correct, Donald. Therefore, we'll have to place her in S tier.
Oh, God, now that's another lolly into the D tier.
I can't believe you put all the lollies into D tier.
Biden is actually the definition of the quote, "Tell me you're a lolicon without telling me you're a lolicon."
Well, Donald, you know what they say. If her age is on the clock, then she's ready for the...
Okay, someone seriously needs to put this guy through some therapy.
I hope both of your pillows are warm on both sides tonight.
We're almost done with the list. We now have Yemiko.
Another Dami Mommy, easy S tier.
Donald, just because she is a fox doesn't mean she watches Fox News.
She's a kitsune, you uncultured swine.
It's the same thing, you Cheeto puff-looking ass.
You guys are forgetting the most important thing about Yemiko.
And what is that?
Yemiko's feet pics are truly exceptional and can only be reserved to be placed in S tier.
Tough to argue with that one.
Now Barack gets it.
Last but not least, we have Yoimiya.
Not gonna lie, Yoimiya really does rock the crust out of my knee-high socks.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
But for real though, looking past Joe's weird statements, she's probably one of the best candidates for being a waifu. She's extremely likable and cheerful.
Don't forget the booba bandages, though.
And the fact that she can make explosives.
Of course you'd be into the explosives part, Barack.
So we're in agreement to place her in S tier?
Absolutely.
And now that concludes our list on all the waifus in Genshin Impact as of now. Thanks again for joining me on creating this list.
I still can't believe both of you are letting Nahida sit in D tier.
It was fun, Barack. So what are we going to do now?
Speaking of what to do, why don't we all come over to my place for some spaghetti and meatballs? I specifically told Michelle to make extra today.
Sounds like a plan. And maybe we can even discuss on what our next tier list should be about.
I've heard that the Fatui Harbingers are a hot topic right now, so maybe we can talk about that.
Sounds perfect. I'll see you all in half an hour then.
All right, see you guys soon.
Peace out, homies.
So tell me why.